each marketplace is different, product or service is different. So I may have right salesperson, wrong role, if that makes sense. Those are the three of the things that I really look for. But you know, again, it goes back to, is this person on a path of trying to grow themselves and be better day after day after day? I think that's probably key. But you could look at a variety of factors. We could look at, you know, we used to do what's called personality or psychometric testing. I stopped that because it wasn't really valid. IQ testing is irrelevant in selling. One of the best books, and I was going to recommend this, that I can tell you to read, if you plan to be in the sales arena, or what does it matter what you do? Because in life, we all sell, doesn't always have to be transactional selling, but we're all selling every day. People say to me, oh, well, I could never be in sales. I couldn't do that. Guess what? You're selling every single day of your life, whether you know it or not. There's a book I picked up, and it was recommended to me when I first started, called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And if you hadn't read it, or if you know about it, I call it my Bible. And I've read, like I said, if you looked at my nightstand, because I'm old school, I don't read Kindle or online, I have a stack of books, this deep of sales books that I just go through. Some good, some bad. Best, again, Sales EQ, Jeb Blunt. I believe you have to be in selling to really get that book. But Dale Carnegie talks about many things. I think one of the keys is remembering people's names. Okay? That makes them feel important. And when you make people feel important, guess what? They like you. And when they like you, they'll buy from you. Okay? He talks about be interested, not interesting. Does anybody know what I mean by that? Don't talk about yourself. Talk about them. Let them talk about themselves. When they talk about themselves, they're opening up. And when they open up, all you need is that one little nugget to get the outcome that you desire, which is a result. And results are all that matters in selling. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, being authentic, having purpose, being accountable, those are all great things. But you better have the ability to persuade. If that's another key, is the ability to persuade. But again, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, a Bible for me. I read it probably once every 2 years. And it goes back to just basics of those 5 principles that Jeff talks about in his book. Do I like you? Do you listen to me? Do you make me feel important? Do you solve a problem? And do I trust you? Those are great. Thank you for thoughtful questions. Yes, sir.
As a salesperson, what was the hardest trait for you to master, whether it be accountable, being transparent, and then how to communicate with people?
Wow, that's good. Probably the hardest thing for me initially when I first started, I got my start in 1993 out of Atlanta, Georgia. And believe it or not, I'll tell you, I got it through a classified ad because of that gentleman that came to our class and talked to us. And I'm going to answer your question by telling you this. For me, I thought when you went in and talked to customers initially, I had to have some kind of canned approach. I had to have some memorized script that I went over and went through. And what I learned from training with the lady who trained me was it wasn't about that. It was being able to walk into someone's office, and normally I was dealing with banks, realtors, hospitals. I mean, really a variety of different businesses because I was selling advertising to these particular industries or sectors, was to be able to build rapport in a conversational format and not sound canned. So the ability to walk in and make someone instantly feel comfortable with who you are is going to be, that was probably my biggest challenge when I initially started. Because I was afraid, I was scared, I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to do and what I wanted my outcome to be, But I'd never done anything like this before. And again, it was someone who gave me an opportunity to go and just, again, repetitively do this over and over and over. And to watch her work, her name's Hope Merrill. To watch her work it was a magic show like I'd never seen. It was unbelievable. And every person we walked into was signing an agreement within an hour. So conversational skills, meaning conversational selling, building rapport, walking in, and again, going back to what Jasmine said about being authentic. If you pick some, people know if they have awards on their wall or pictures of their family, you know, they know instantly whether you genuinely care about whether they sponsored a baseball team, or they have 2 kids at home, or they belong to the Rotary. They know. But there's a way to go in and again, make them instantly feel comfortable in building that rapport in order to ultimately get to what you want, which is the outcome and the result of a transaction. Thank you, sir. I brought some notes just to make sure I covered everything. So, question? Oh, perfect, thank you.
Have you ever encountered anyone that, you know, appeared authentic and you find out down the line that they're kind of for themselves, and how do you mediate that?
Are you speaking in terms of people I was training or attempting to hire, or?
I guess people that you did train and, you know, they're just in front.
I can tell you, most of the people who I've dealt with like that were hired by someone else. I'll tell you, the timing on this meeting, and Nathan knows this, I just left a selling career because I'm building my business now. But I worked in vacation ownership sales, which is the reason I'm in Hawaii with Marriott Vacation Club for 8.5 years. And again, when I mention court jesters, clowns, there's not a big filtering process on how they hire there, which is the reason I started my business. And I met some of the most, is it inauthentic? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Inauthentic individuals who were manipulative, who made me sick to my stomach to watch. Because they would be in our break room 1 minute bitching about the job and about not getting any business and complaining about the last customer they saw. And the next minute they're out greeting someone as if Santa Claus had just left them $1 million lottery ticket under the Christmas tree. To me, that's inauthentic. You can't switch gears that quick. You need to have equanimity in being who you are every day. I have encountered those type of persons in my career. They're out there. You're gonna have them anywhere in your life. Always they're gonna be there. But as far as me, actually, with my business, not anyone yet. And I was never really in a hiring role. In a training role, I didn't see a lot of that. I was telling Nathan on the way in, I had about 2 years with Verizon Yellow Page directories where I trained salespeople in 13 different states. And pretty much when you're in that I don't like to call it a management role because I don't like to be a manager. I like to partner with people. I believe partners better in managing. They're going to be on their best behavior. Do you know what I mean? But they're out there. And if you ever want to get a taste of seeing them, go to a timeshare presentation. Yes. Oh, which one? Go ahead, ma'am. She had her hand up first. Sorry. My apologies.
No worries.
Go ahead.
I know we're talking a lot about like sellers' characteristics, but do you have like, especially since customers have more consistent commission,
Mhm.
do you go through like the same process with them also? So like, do I like you as a customer?
Like with the buyer? Or can you clarify? I apologize. I'm missing the point on that.
Like, do you just take pretty much anyone who will buy, or do you also look?
No.
Okay.
I love that. So let me go back to what I was just talking about. And the best education I ever got was in vacation ownership sales. It's a 90-minute cycle. You're asking for $50,000 and $2,500 a year for the rest of their lives in maintenance fees. It's the best education you'll ever get, period. You learn emotional intelligence, neuro-linguistic processing. You learn about self-awareness. And again, going back to being what she asked, Jasmine asked about being authentic. Again, I don't want to self-proclaim and play up to be that, you know, I walked on this holy grail when I dealt with people, but we dealt with a lot of people who did not have the ability to even put down the down payment on our product. And I would walk away from those because I knew if they didn't have a credit card that could hold the amount of money needed for a deposit, it wasn't a right time for them to do this. And you walk away. Again, it goes back to what I say, sounding cliche. You sleep at night. But we have people that would take down payments on the down payment for 8 months to get them in the product. I had one gentleman who I worked with who came into our meeting room after, and he was bragging because he sold a $25,000 transaction to a man who was dying with cancer. Again, that's his prerogative. I'm not being judgmental of that. I personally, unless they were, no pun intended, dying to have it, I probably wouldn't have transacted with that. And again, I've made mistakes along my path. I've done things probably that I'm not proud of. But ultimately, I come back to a value system that I was taught as a child. So, yeah, what was your question?
I want to ask about the business that you're starting now.
Yeah.
And then I also want to ask about how you deal with like people who are working under you and how you get them to like be as motivated as you are, or like how do you get them to live up to like the expectations that you expect? Because it seems like you have high expectations and you're very like into like self-improvement and all that. So how do you get other people to?
I have a partner. You can go to my business. By the way, if you ever want to visit my website, my website is salestalentrecruiter.com. Salestalentrecruiter.com. I would encourage you to watch the video on the homepage. It's a 2-minute video. It talks about why you should hire an A player in your operation. So I'm going to answer that. I have a partner that I started with who's very young. In fact, when people see his picture on the website, they don't ask about what he does. They say, why is he so young? I was in Manila recently, and a cab driver, I got into the Uber with him. It's called Grab there. And he said, oh, he just randomly told me, I work in headhunting or talent acquisition. And so I let him talk and talk. And then he actually went to my website while he was driving because we were stuck in traffic. And he saw my partner, Chris, and he goes, why, he's so young. I'll tell you what, the roles were reversed in this situation. We started our business about 2 years ago, and Chris Shee is my partner. He was going to come today, but his parents are in town from California. I actually wanted him to come. He has kept me in the game. I was going to pull the plug on this business a long time ago. But Chris has kept me steady and motivated me in keeping this thing afloat. Because it's hard. When you start a business, it's extremely difficult. Nobody knows you. You know, a lot of people start a business after they've left a business where they were already doing what they're doing and they're bringing clients with them to support their base for a little while. I didn't do that. I started from scratch. So part of my motivation, another thing I'll share with you, I don't know if you guys know this and I don't talk about it, you can make a lot of money selling. A lot. You make as much as surgeons. And I'm not kidding. Our highest paid performer where I just left was making $600,000 a year. Now, I wasn't in that arena because I wasn't a top guy. But save your money. Because what allows me to do what I'm doing now, to piggyback on, is that savings and that confidence that I built through doing, the selling for so long. And more importantly, seeing a need. In that there's a lot of companies out there who are blowing their shareholders' money by hiring inept salespeople. All they're doing is trying to put a butt in a seat. And what is that? Opportunity cost. It costs the shareholder. There's poor managers out there, poor sales managers. And they don't look at recruiting as a business process. They look at it as an event in time. Oh, we need someone now, so let's go find someone. You should always, as a sales manager, be recruiting every single day. You meet someone in the grocery line who you think, hey, I'm so-and-so, I work for this company. Give me a call sometime. Let's talk about a career opportunity. If you see that in someone. That's constantly recruiting. But most sales companies treat recruiting, this is what they do. And that's why I encourage you to watch the video on my website. They've gotten lazy. They hire an internal recruiter or an HR person. And that HR person has never sold what they're hiring for. Usually, where I just left, the internal recruiter's never sold what she's hiring for. So for me, that spells ineptitude on many levels, because what they're doing, they're placing an ad out on a job board, and they're just hoping, it's what I call spray and pray. They're hoping someone will come in to fill that position. Based on the difference in what we do, we go out and we look for top performers. I go into different sectors. I know who's performing. I ask for referrals from people who are already working in the company. Hey, who's your best guy? Give me his phone number. Give me his email address. So I go out and look. I don't wait. There's an old saying I heard, and when I was learning about how to recruit, there's 3 types of people on job boards looking for work: job hoppers, job shoppers, and rejects. So you're getting the best of the worst when you go to a job board. Don't get me wrong, you can find a jewel there occasionally, but we're looking for people who are already in a selling role, who are performing because they're happy where they're working, they're well compensated, and they're appreciated by their managers. Those are the 3 things we know. So I'm going out and I'm reaching out to someone who's already working, making that $400,000 a year. And I'm saying, hey, I have an opportunity. Would you like to explore it? Yes or no? No? Great. Just keep me in mind. I may call you back. Thank you for that question. By the way, thanks for everybody's questions, because these are insightful, especially you. Thank you. I can tell your dad's in the selling arena. So I'm waiting for you, Big Daddy. Come on. And then I want to finish up.
So I guess with the managers that you've worked for, I mean, what are maybe some of the things that differentiate the good versus the bad managers?
The good versus the bad. I'll tell you what, one of the little video clips I'm going to show you at the end, there's a guy named Simon Sinek, who I just started looking for, and he coined it perfectly. He said, in leadership roles, especially in Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 1000 companies, there's a difference in the management styles. The reason that Southwest Airlines, Apple Computers, several other businesses he names do so well and have such a loyal customer base is that when they manage from the top level down, I call it trickle down, they're not managing basically finite results. So most sales companies, they're looking at what's my monthly result? I need a result for this month. These companies look at infinity. So they inspire, good sales managers inspire people to do well. They don't look at, hey, I'm managing a result. You have to make this number, and if you don't make this number, I'm getting crunched. You want to come to work for them. They create a culture that you want to do well for them, if that makes sense. That's the difference between good sales manager, as far as I'm concerned, and someone who shouldn't be in a sales role. And by the way, what you'll find if you get into selling, a lot of people who are good in sales are promoted to managers, and they're not management material. There's a difference between being in a leadership role and being a leader. A huge difference. Just because someone puts you into a role where you have a rank or a title or some authority, doesn't mean you're a good leader. Nope. Good leaders inspire people to do well for themselves. And when they do well for themselves, they do well for the organization, company, or business that they're attached to. Does that answer that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the other question too is, as a manager, a lot of the times that there's opportunities, whether it's a really great territory or maybe it's a set of leads that have come in that maybe are a little bit more attractive than the other leads that are there. How do you allocate those to the people that may be reporting to you? Is it a thing where everyone gets an equal share? Maybe you're rewarding the people that are performing better, or is it a thing where you give the opportunity to the poor performer to try to bring them up? I guess maybe some of your thoughts on that.
That's a really good question. And you know what? To be as objective as I can in answering that, I think each sales organization that I've been attached to or worked with handles that on a different basis. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends on, I've seen people where I've just finished working who were just about to lose their job. And let me tell you, if you're about to lose your job where I was working, you want to be gone anyway because you're not making money. but they'll throw them the carrot at the very end to keep them in the game
Yep.
because they're performing poorly. And they're actually